Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're ready to stop guessing and start actually building, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're putting on our coaching hats and walking through a complete, totally actionable, full-body workout plan that, well, actually works. We're going to strip away all the noise, the complicated fads, all that overwhelming gym jargon, and get straight down to the foundational movements. More importantly, we're diving into the actual science of muscle contraction that guarantees real results.
We've literally all been there, right? You walk through those gym doors, you hear the clanking weights, you see dozens of these incredibly complex machines, and you ask yourself, where do I even start? The truth is, thousands of beginners waste months, sometimes literally years, doing totally random exercises with little to zero progress simply because they don't have a structured plan. They're putting in all this sweat, but they aren't reaping any of the rewards. Well, today, we are going to fix that.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap to completely demystify the gym for you. 1. Mastering proper form. 2. Building the upper body. 3. Powering the lower body. 4. Sculpting the core. And 5. The formula for results. Section 1. Mastering proper form. You have to lift smart, not just hard. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute foundational rule of working out. Relying on momentum and just swinging the weight around, yeah, that might stroke your ego, but it honestly only builds injuries. Controlling every single repetition is what actually builds muscle. Scientifically, this is all about maximizing mechanical tension. When you control the weight, your brain is forced to recruit more motor units. This creates these microscopic cross bridges between the actin and myosin filaments inside your muscle. Momentum steals that crucial tension, but control absolutely guarantees it.
Section 2. Building the upper body. Consolidating the chest, back, shoulders, and arms.
So, let's look at the chest. The source material highlights 3 foundational movements you need. First, the classic push-up, which beautifully develops your baseline strength using just your own body weight. Second is the dumbbell bench press, your primary driver for building overall mass. And third, the incline dumbbell press. By just adjusting the bench to a slight incline, you shift that mechanical tension directly to the clavicular head of the pectoralis major. That is the biological secret to giving the chest a much fuller, more developed look. Next up, we turn to the back. The core movements here are the pull-up, the bent-over row, and the lat pull-down. A strong back is exactly what creates that highly sought-after V-taper physique. But listen, the rule of form heavily applies here. If you swing your whole body just to heave the weight up, your lats aren't bearing the mechanical load, which means absolutely zero growth. You have to pull with your elbows and actively squeeze the back muscles together to force those muscle fibers to actually contract. For shoulder building, the routine focuses on the overhead press, the lateral raise, and the front raise. Broad, wide shoulders make your entire physique look bigger and way more commanding. The real secret to shoulder training, especially on isolation moves like the lateral raise, is using surprisingly light weight. I'm serious, drop the weight down. You want perfect control and slow repetitions to ensure the front, side, and rear deltoids are doing the actual work, not your traps or your lower back. Moving right along to the arms. For the biceps, your primary drivers are the barbell curl, the hammer curl, and the preacher curl. And for the triceps, the focus is on dips, the cable pushdown, and the overhead extension. These are isolation movements, which means their sole purpose is to isolate and contract the very specific muscles of the upper arm.
So, the crucial point is this. Big arms are built by squeezing the muscle, not by just lifting heavy. When you intentionally squeeze at the very peak of a bicep curl, you're maximizing what scientists call metabolic stress. You're actually trapping blood in the muscle to create that famous pump, and that is what triggers hypertrophic growth. Drop the ego, drop the weight, and focus purely on the squeeze.
Section 3. Powering the lower body. Remember, the cardinal rule, never skip leg day.
While everyone else in the gym is staring in the mirror doing their 5th variation of a bicep curl, you are going to focus on 3 non-negotiable lower body movements: the squat, the Romanian deadlift, and walking lunges. These 3 exercises are incredibly efficient. Together, they totally hammer all the major components of the lower body: the quadriceps on the front of the thigh, the hamstrings on the back, and the glutes.
Now, what's really interesting here is that your biggest muscles are in your legs. Because they are the largest muscle groups, training them heavily isn't just about building big thighs. It actually triggers a massive systemic release of natural growth hormones and testosterone, which benefits your entire body. Look, leg day is going to be exhausting for sure, but training them hard is absolutely vital for your overall strength, your metabolic rate, and a balanced physique.
Section 4. Sculpting the core. Let's talk about building the six-pack.
Core training doesn't need to be some hour-long ordeal. The explainer highlights just 3 key movements to effectively train the core: the hanging leg raise, the bicycle crunch, and the classic plank. Just like the arms, these movements require you to consciously squeeze and contract the abdominal wall. With the plank in particular, you're utilizing an isometric contraction. That means you're holding the muscle fibers under constant tension without changing their length. That is what builds the deep core stability of your transverse abdominis. But we have to address the elephant in the room when it comes to the core. Abs are trained in the gym, but revealed in the kitchen. It's a classic fitness mantra for a very good reason. You could do thousands of hanging leg raises, but if your body fat percentage is too high because of your diet, those strong abdominal muscles are just going to remain hidden. This beautifully bridges the gap between lifting weights and the actual holistic lifestyle habits you need for real results. Let's move to Section 5, the formula for results. We're looking at consistency and recovery outside the gym.
Building your dream physique really comes down to this ultimate out-of-gym formula. Step 1. Train consistently. Muscle is built one patient workout at a time. There are no shortcuts here. Step 2. Eat enough protein. Protein provides the amino acids necessary to trigger muscle protein synthesis, which actively repairs the microtears you created during those intense, controlled contractions in the gym. And Step 3. Sleep 7 to 8 hours every single night. Sleep is when your body releases those growth hormones and actually does the heavy lifting of recovery.
If you take away absolutely anything from today's explainer, please let it be this 3-part sign-off. Train smart, stay consistent, results will come. It really is that straightforward. It requires patience and dedication, obviously, but if you stick to the foundational exercises, focus on the science of muscle contraction rather than just moving heavy weights, and prioritize your recovery, you absolutely cannot fail. I want to leave you with a quick challenge for your very next workout. Ask yourself, what is the one exercise you'll stop rushing and start perfectly controlling today? Seriously, pick just one movement. Drop the weight by 10%. Focus purely on the squeeze and the contraction. Feel the difference it makes. Thanks for joining me on today's explainer, and I'll catch you next time.